So let's talk about some of the things that good old Pav mentioned in his newest video. And he often has a loose relationship with reality, and boy, he definitely did this time. So let's take a look.
Many of the friends who were at 1122 King Road when police arrived also stayed in the same hotel room the night of November 13th, 2022. There was also extensive media coverage. Post event misinformation must be considered as a factor for the accuracy of DM's memory retention. You want to know about the hotel room? Bam! There it is right there. We were right. She knows it, and she is going to annihilate them at trial, y'all.
Actually, Pav, not a bam. You weren't right. You were trying to say that Dylan and Bethany had left and went to a hotel room during the crime. So in the morning, a little after 4 a.m., that they took off. That they left either during or right after the crime. But as I've mentioned before, even Ann Taylor says they were at the house, okay? They didn't leave. What this is discussing that you just read was about how the witnesses weren't separated because she feels that law enforcement should have kept Dylan and Bethany separated. But they were at a hotel room on the night of the 13th. Not the morning of the 13th. The night of the 13th. See, the evening of the 13th is after the murders, after the 911 call. Murders took place a little after 4 in the morning. 911 call was right before noon. Guess what happens when a house becomes a crime scene? Law enforcement doesn't let you back in to sleep there and live there while it's cordoned off and they're investigating. So they had to put the girls up in a hotel room that night. Okay? Not the morning while the murders were taking place. That night after everything. So, yeah. It's nothing. Anyways, I can't explain it any better. Murders were a little after 4 a.m. in the morning on the 13th. 911 call around noon on the 13th. They put them up in a hotel the night of the 13th because they obviously couldn't go back into the house. So you weren't right, not a bam. Let's continue.
I said that little DoorDash driver was none other than Eric Grower bringing Dylan home at 4:20. But they adjusted the timeline for the DoorDash delivery to make it look like it was at 4 a.m., like she said up there, so that they could corroborate their story. But that's where they screwed up because they left too much evidence for us to finally figure it out. The state is in the process of obtaining a certificate of authenticity. I bet you are, because you can't obtain a certificate of authenticity for $3.59 because they didn't roll up until 4:20. And your goose is cooked with that one now, state. But Pav is not right every time, but if you give him enough time, he will absolutely knock it out of the park every time. Because Mr. Koberger, 49 devices, digital data sets that this witness will testify there's no connection between Mr. Koberger and any of the following individuals. By the way, this is Mowry, and he's going to testify that there's no connection between Koberger and any of these individuals, including the DoorDash EG, Eric Grower. Bam, bam, bam.
No, they're not bams. You can bam, bam, bam all you want, but they're not bams. Okay, so let's address these things in order. So first of all, there's no proof that Eric Gower picked up Dylan and took her anywhere around 4 a.m. or after or any of that. I would love to see your proof of that. And again, Ann Taylor said that the girls were in the house in Bethany's room. And you know that they have their phones and did forensic downloads. So you know that they looked at the GPS and know exactly where they were. And if they had left the house, Ann wouldn't be saying that they were at the house. Okay? And I thought you liked Anne. I thought you thought she was a rock star. So it's kind of interesting that you don't believe her now. I don't know. Secondly, let's talk about the time of the DoorDash order and certification. So this was from the documents, and I made this bigger. I broke them up so you could see this and made them bigger. But this tells you the date and the time. So it was done at 3:59 a.m. So right before 4. That is from DoorDash. That's official. 3:59 a.m. on 11/13/2022. Then this next one tells you the delivery total, which was 22, looks like 22.99, and then the address it was being delivered to, 1122 King Road. The last one tells you the business name and then also has the Dasher ID. And the business was Jack in the Box. So it was done at 3:59 a.m. and it was delivered from Jack in the Box. Now, this is the certificate of authenticity, and it came from DoorDash, and she is certifying that that information is correct. So unless you're saying the DoorDash person is lying about when the delivery was made, it was made at 3:59 a.m. And I don't understand why somebody with the national organization of DoorDash would have any reason to lie. I don't know, maybe you have some far-fetched Delululand reason why you think this person would lie on the certificate, but I can't imagine somebody at a national headquarters that doesn't even know any of these people involved would feel the need to lie about the time. And yes, they are waiting on the court allowing self-authentication. This will be up to Judge Hippler. But this is the certificate of authenticity from DoorDash. Now to the last point. Eric Gower is not the DoorDasher. If you'll see, the parentheses follow the initials MM. The DoorDasher is MM. Yes, they forgot the comma after the second parentheses before EG. But when you're doing a document, typing up a paper, etc., when you're clarifying somebody with further information, the parentheses with the clarification follow the person's name. They don't precede the person's name. They always proceed. They always follow. So the DoorDasher is whoever the person is with the MM initials. Definitely not Eric Gower. So those aren't BAMs. Those are plops and a fizzle out.